as we go through this class, you will be given much more step-by-step how to do things at this point, because programming is brand new. Probably the engineering, physics, math isn't as new, but the programming is. So at the beginning, Arandi and I will give you much more step-by-step how to do it, because you're just learning how to do it. And I'll go through this assignment, how to figure out how to convert this into the equations into MATLAB. As we go, you'll get less and less help, and we'll be more and more on your own, just as a warning. Not much of a warning, is it? All right. So this is a separate assignment. So anytime you have a separate assignment, it's okay. We can have a separate file. So I'm going to do a new script. And I do not trust computers. And I've worked with computers for a long time. So if I don't trust them, that should give you an idea that you want to have backups of all your documents. You want to save these things someplace. This is pretty reliable, but always have extra copies. The first thing I do is save it. I never rely on anything. So this would be, you can do week 02, that's fine. But this is, what's the name of this? Force
And work.
and work. It's a good name for it. And give me a pause here. The first thing we want to do is make some comments. And if you've already done the commenting style in another program, you don't need to do it again. So we're going to put in the name, who you are, and Bill Loring. That helps if I'm looking at files and I can remember, oh yeah, I should not give Nadia's grade to, or no, Nora's grade to James, right? That would not be working very well. And then it's always good to put the file name. In my case, my file name is WK02 force. And it's a convention in programming not to use spaces in the file names. Not that it's going to be an issue with MATLAB. Force and work. There we go. .m. .m is an extension, an extension of the file name, which tells your computer that it's MATLAB, but you're using it online, so that's not a big deal. All right, we have three major parts to any program. What's the first part of the program that we need to do? I think somebody said it already. No? We have to do 1, 2, 3 before our program's done. The three main stages of a program are, take a look at one of your programs you did for last week. So our first part is, well, I am going to put a little title for my program so I know what it is. I might put in a couple dashes to make it look pretty. So I'll call mine force and work calculator. And then what did I put in? 5? Yeah, that just kind of sets it apart. It's nice to have a little title at the beginning of your program, just so when you're running it, you know what you're doing. Or if somebody else is using your program, because you may be writing programs for other people to use. So they want to know what's going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, whatever you want to do, you can add other things in there. But this is just a simple little title. And DISP just displays things and we have no control over it. All right, so now I am just going to make it like this. Input. That's an important part. Input. In fact, I think I'll put 2 parentheses here so it becomes a section that divides the program into our 3 pieces. So the directions say, what do the directions say? I better find them. Toward the bottom, I should have a, yep. Marani put together a little how to solve this problem in programming. So if you go to the very bottom, this is somewhat like something that's called pseudocode. Pseudocode is thinking through and planning your program before you do it. At this point, we're not really asking you to do that. This is just an example. So include the problem in your own words as comments. So yes, some of the stuff you wrote down, you'll want to type into your program to comment it. Any program you submit to me, I want to know that you understand it. I want to know that you didn't just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me this program and finish it out, because you can do that for every problem in our class. But does that teach you how to program? Not so much, no. So this is commenting is what I would call it. Randy calls it restate the problem. It's the same thing. As you're going through commenting. So cat variables and assignments. So get mass, get acceleration, get distance, and feet from the user. So how many input statements would we need for that?
3.
Yeah, because we can only get one variable at a time. And what's the command to do input? That we type in, what's the code to do input? It's really too easy. I'm giving you the answer every time I say input. It's input, yes. So this is very similar to Python, and Python says, oh, you want some input? Let's just type in input. So as you notice, when you type it in, see this little helper guy down here? It's saying input prompt. Prompt is what you're going to prompt the user to enter. Okay, I already forgot what it is that we're supposed to get first. Mass. So you might put in enter mass, and then you might put in a little thing like here, so they know to enter it in pounds. Right? Oh, yeah, see, I did it a little differently here compared to my example run. Does it matter that this is different than the example run? Do you get the idea of what you're supposed to enter? Yeah, you don't have to copy exactly what I've done. I want to know that you've understood it and, you know, can figure it out. Now, we don't want a bunch of extra stuff printing. So at the end of all of our statements, we're going to put a semicolon to print to stop extra stuff from coming in. Now, once we have our input and the user's typed in 24.3, what do we do with that input?
Assign it to a value.
So assign it to a
Value. To
variable, yes, because a value is always the same. It's a
Yeah.
constant. Like if I have 25 in my program, it's always 25. But if I put it to a variable, I can change it and calculate with it. Oh, mass. And mass is a good name for mass, isn't it? Except we're going to have mass in pounds and mass in, not meters, kilograms. So it'd be good to put something here, and you could do mass feet or just mass FT, just to indicate, because naming variables is important, because when you're looking through the code, it helps you understand what's going on if you have good variable names and consistent variable names.
It should be LB.
Oh, did I do it wrong? I think I probably did it FT in mine. There, that is better. Now, this is the syntax for an input statement. Are we going to change our input statements for the rest of the semester? No, it's always going to be the same thing. We may add things to the input statement, but it's always going to look exactly like this. So I'm going to copy it and paste it and modify it. It's always faster to copy and paste than modify. Than start from scratch. So you'd select the line, which if you have a computer keyboard, what I'm doing is holding down the shift key and pressing the end key, which is harder to get on a laptop. Yeah. Control C does copy no matter what you have. Control V paste, so I can paste as many times as I want. And it just so happens that your other friend, when you're doing things in Word and anything else, is Control Z. Control Z undoes. You don't have to, the less you click buttons, the faster you get things done. That's why when I'm doing demonstrations, quite often it's like, I'm done, which I need to slow it down a little bit. So does everybody have three copies of this? That's a faster way. So since we have mass LB, what would be a good name for this variable?
mass key at KG.
Yeah, Perfect. It's consistent, makes sense. Oh, no, we're not converting yet, are we? Sorry, that's later on. You would use mass kg. Excellent. Sorry, I'm converting and calculating. We haven't even got all the information in, right?
We need acceleration and
Yeah.
distance.
But we will use mass kg later on. Because that's a good variable. So do we need to do something with this?
Feet per
Right.
second.
Yeah. Feet, and you don't put in little fancy things. We'll just put feet, SEC. You kind of have to use alphabetic characters. Because this is the square sign, but it's a special character that MATLAB is saying, oh, you can't use that in there. So letters and numbers are better. Does that look like feet per second? If I do this, look good? Sometimes variable names, you can't always come up with exactly the right thing. Now here, we can do feet. What is it? Feet per second squared, whatever it is. Because we're just doing text. And I don't know how to do that. Second, and then we can put this little guy. That means squared. I mean, that means to the power of.
But there, can we put the slash?
Yeah, you can put anything in here because we're, okay, what I couldn't remember is how it was done in the, oh, there it is, yep. So this is feet per second squared, right? Okay, I know this is how you put it in, I just don't. So this is the like to the power of, and this would be squared. Because you can't put fancy characters in here, everything is text. So you can't like move it above and do superscripts and all that. You have to do it like that. But now we know exactly what we want. And I'm sticking with the same thing. What's the next one we need?
Distance.
We're not calculating yet. We're just getting our three variables. So Arandi says distance, and I think distance is a good name, but what do we need to change about it?
Meter.
We're going to convert to standard,
It's in feet.
right? So maybe FT is a good one. So we're starting out in imperial units, and we're going to go to, boy, now I can't remember what's the other one called. She calls it standard units. Okay, metric, that's what I would usually call it. So we're going to go distance. We need to change this to acceleration. There. Now it's taken a few seconds, but we've now got a nice logical input piece to get our information from the user. Which I guess I should say input from user. Now with the code that we've put in here and that the prompts are in here, would it be helpful if we put in any more comments in here, or is this pretty understandable? Yeah, it's pretty understandable because we've got these strings in here saying what we're entering, and we're entering distance, and we're saying input from user. So really, we don't really need much else there. All right. So I'm going to break this video up so it's not like excruciatingly long. In our little list of things, it says application to, oh, where's Arandi's task thing? There it is. Variables and assignment statements. So we've gotten our input. The next one is unit conversions. Now we're going to, which this you would consider as part of your calculation piece. Anytime you're multiplying, adding, subtracting, division, powers, whatever, this is the calculation piece. We're calculating. So I'm going to put in here, calculate. And in this case, that's the general thing that we're going to do, but we're going to have 2 or 3 things in here. So this one is going to be convert from imperial to metric units. I'm used to seeing what with those words. In your case, for engineering and math, it would be, what would it be? All right, so we're going to convert from imperial. So we're going to convert from, and usually what I'm doing when I do one of these things is I'll find the formula in the document. And I will copy and paste it in or type it in. So I know what, where did it go? Here we are. Yeah. So we're converting pounds to kilograms, right?
Mhm.
So you can either type it in or select it, copy it and paste it. But that's typically what I do so that I know what formula I'm working with. There. So I know 1 pound equals 0.454 kilograms. That just makes it easier for me to remember. And now we have the conversion formula in there. We've said we're converting from imperial to SI units. Really, that's enough. We don't really need any more explanation of that, because with this formula, we'll convert that formula into MATLAB coding. So I'm going to work from the left to the right this time, because that's typically what you're doing. So what would be a good variable name for our kilograms?
Mass kg.
Yep. Because you already had the answer. Now is when we need it. So to convert from mass kg to convert to mass kg, what would we type in here as our formula? How would you take your pounds and convert it to kilograms? What would you do here as your formula?
Mass LB times 0.45.
Exactly. And as you type, notice how MATLAB kind of says, oh, is this maybe what you're looking for? And if you press tab, it'll fill in the rest of it for you. There's two advantages to that. It makes it faster. And you don't have to worry about spelling it right, because programming is case sensitive. You have to have a capital L. You can't have a lowercase l, or it'll say, nope, I don't know what you're doing. And then, of course, stars are times, and then 0.454, and we don't want stuff displayed, so we'll put that in there. Make sense? So this is pretty straightforward. We will get to more complicated formulas later on, where you'll have parentheses, you'll have to break it out into many steps, but we want to start with baby steps. So the next one. Let's see. Yeah, we got time. We can do one. Whoops, wrong thing. We can do one more, and then you can finish the other one on your own, and you can keep going, and on your own, and see if you can figure it out. But we'll pick it up on. Maybe what we'll do is no. That's what we'll do, because we need to do a little bit of work with how to make it look pretty. But I'm going to go ahead and put in my formula. What are we converting here? Meters, feet to meters, right? Yeah.
1 feet per second squared,
Oh, we're doing, okay, sorry, I was over.
the second part, yeah.
Yep, and somehow this ended up being on 2 lines for some reason on mine, I don't know.
And that has to be a second square.
So, will you have any trouble with this one?
That has to be a second square, and you can have a typo in this time.
Yep. Because it doesn't take, where's my square? There, right? And this should have, correct?
Mhm.
All right. So you'll want to figure out how to convert that. You'll want to figure out how to do the next one. And we're going to jump right into the next part of the calculations, because, once you got the pattern down, it's not a big deal, right?
Mhm.
And we'll also go how to make it look pretty.